Hey everyone, tons of mice. Glad to see you, as well as Blazing. I know tons of mice, right? It's pretty. A buddy of mine. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, I pasted a link in the chat about USA Today covering one of my funny little stories. It's about Ted Cruz, and you can check it out. It actually has my name in it too, as well as the name of my blog, Laughing in Disbelief. And I was talking to my boss over at Pathos, Dylan McGowan, about it, and he mentioned the fact that, hey, Robert X, I was talking to my boss over at Pathos about USA Today picking up that piece that I wrote, that funny piece about Ted Cruz. And he said, Andy, there's a chance that Ted Cruz knows who you are and knows that you made fun of him. And I thought to myself, when I tell Ted Cruz to go F himself sideways, I feel like I am saying it for all of us, to tell you the truth. So I feel pretty happy about this whole thing. All right, everyone. So that was enough about me talking about me. Yeah, the USA Today article, pretty cool, pretty awesome. First time I've gotten national coverage. Yeah, I've been covered on Snopes like a bunch of times, but USA Today seems to be more of a mainstream newspaper. And the fact that one of my posts got to notoriety in it, it's pretty cool. I posted a meme I made on your FB. Oh, okay, great. Thanks, Blazing. I appreciate it. No coffee on the Jenga table. I know. Well, this is what I'm doing here. I do have the coffee, but it is behind the camera. So it will not be in the splatter zone, the disaster zone. Because you see, I didn't have time enough to actually drink my third cup of coffee. So it's like, well, I'm going to have to bring it up here with me. Yeah, so here I am. Well, I am, yeah, Ted, are you watching now? F you, Ted, exactly. I will never go mainstream because I'm unmainstreamable. That's what I am. I am unmainstreamable. Splatter zone, right? I'm sorry. Hey, James Henry, Simply Secular. You know what I would love is if Ted Cruz, he's an attention whore. And he runs his own little podcast, YouTube channel. I would love it if he mentioned me, or, some kind of engagement there, so I can make fun of him some more. That's all I want to do, is make fun of Ted Cruz more. It's a simple quest of mine, I know. But what I have is high goals during this pandemic, and I didn't even know that I had a goal that I wanted to make fun of Ted Cruz this much, but I guess I do. Yeah, well, it's easy not to be a sellout when no one's buying, James Henry. Notoriety is one thing. Anyone willing to pay me money to run my mouth or to read my material, that's something totally different. Though I was thinking to myself, I should really just write to the Onion and say, I know you have only a limited number of slots over there. And I know most of them are New York area comedians who work the clubs and everything. However, I think I could be a valuable member of the team. At the very least, and every once in a while I say to myself, well, actually, this is a recommendation from one of my friends, longtime friends on Twitter. She's like, shouldn't you get an agent, Andy? Shouldn't you get an agent? Because implying, of course, I'm really bad at promoting myself, which I am. Oh, he's a Dixie Trumper, huh? John Schneider. Yep. I know John Schneider, Simply Secular, yeah. Maybe Marriott should send me some swag. That's right. Giving them some good advertisement right there. Maybe I can get his points. Local satirist gets all of Ted Cruz's Marriott Awards points. I think I'll jot that down. Hello, Brainbug. How you doing? Yes, I'm thinking I'll do a Poe upon a Poe squared, about me getting all of Ted Cruz's Marriott points. So I'm happy that the tower is stable. You've noticed, for those of you who've been here who've seen many of these different Jenga towers, I'm trying not to focus just on the middle and take out the easy pieces. That's what I'm trying not to do. Isn't Schneider a member of the born-again Taliban? Well, that's what Simply Secular was saying. I've had a bunch of back and forths with people on Twitter. It was Norm Macdonald, actually. I had back and forth with Norm Macdonald back in the day. He's a comedian, of course, was on SNL. Really talented guy. About God. He was kind of pro-God. I was anti-God. But I wasn't running a podcast at that time. Otherwise, I'd ask him to come on. I hear Cancun is nice. Indeed, tons of mice. Well, did you hear that idiotic joke Ted Cruz tried to say at CPAC? It's like, Florida's nice, but not as nice as Cancun, or some kind of crap like that. Al Franken, he gave an interview a little while ago. He was talking about Ted Cruz, and he goes, Franken was saying, a lot of people in the Senate hate Ted Cruz. Well, I'm not like, but I like him a lot more than the other senators. And the thing is, they hate Ted Cruz a lot. And I hate Ted Cruz. I just simply hate Ted Cruz. I think Ted Cruz is probably the Nickelback of the Senate, to tell you the truth. Yeah, well, that's what I think. Oh, Dirty Work was McDonald's peak performance. Dick in a box. That was a great SNL skit. It was a song. Well, that's good. Simply Secular. Whenever I post, even my crappy jokes, I try to make sure that, I'm just not blowing smoke out my ass. Interesting note about atheists drinking out loud last Saturday. I was hanging out with Seamus after the show, and we talked for about, I don't know, maybe a short period of time, 10 or 15 minutes. And one of his kids was there hanging out with us, just talking. And I was on Seamus's show on Sunday afternoon. And he's like, Andy, I had no idea we had a conversation after the show. It wasn't until my kid told me we had a chat afterwards. It's like, did we? Save the smoke trick for the grand finale. So I'll take this one. It's an easy block. But I'll take it, I guess. I feel like I shouldn't take it, but I did. I'm gonna take some coffee. Well, that was stupid. That was a stupid thing I just did. And I'm not going to do it again. I was trying to pull the block out as against to trying to push it through, and that was a mistake. Jameis was, I was thinking to myself, it's like, am I drinking, in the middle of the show? It's like, am I drinking enough to be entertaining? Not that I'm not entertaining, but, I feel like there's a perfect ratio between me drinking and how funny I am on the show. Couple of hundred people, Brian Bug. But it wasn't anything like fantastic. It was like at I don't know, man. There was a show in Pennsylvania, and then there was a VHW hall up here in Dedham, and a couple of hundred people there. But I played, for like 5 people. I played for a couple of hundred people. The best crowds, or the best crowd is typically an intimate space, right? I don't know if you guys have ever been to the Comedy Cellar in New York City. That has a nice intimate, you can fit a lot of people in there. You can cram people in there. And if you're claustrophobic, I would not recommend going to the Comedy Cellar. But those small rooms, you get a very good sense of who the comedian is. And like I said, it's more intimate than a large hall. So this would be a great drinking game. Every time Andy gets a block, we drink. Wow. It would be, yes. I support you guys, everyone drinking, I support that. So this. So that's another easy block. I don't think I played for more than not. Yeah. Not right. Brain bug. But the small crowds, those, like I said, the comedy, you see the Netflix specials and everything. I think I mentioned this the other day that my girlfriend and we saw Dimitri Martin, his special from 2015. And even though he's playing for a very large audience, a theater, he was able to do some basic crowd work for like maybe a minute and a half or so. And crowd work is just the comedian talking to the audience and getting them on his side or getting them on their side. So Rob Williams jump on stage with at the theater. Yep. Wow, that was a very small venue. That must have been nice. Need a wide shot. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, we got to build that up, right? Got to build it up. Here we go. Of course, I do make some bug jokes when I'm live. They're just dad jokes. Yeah, my jokes, my dad jokes are dark. My stories about my kids that I tell on stage, a little dark too. More of a joke on me. I'm the butt of the joke 90% of the time. Good. Can you pull the rotating table back a few inches? Don't move the camera. It's fine. What? What? Move the camera? Move the table? Move the table. That seems a little counterproductive. Hey, Paul Camish, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. It's evening over there, from what I understand. What is it, 5 hours ahead? So it must be like 8:14 over there. It's a very British day over here. Overcast, rainy off and on. You can't go wrong with cats, You can't go wrong with cats. The thing is, you really don't know what's going to work in front of an audience until you actually try it out. You think to yourself, oh, this joke really worked. It's really funny. Well, you think it's really funny until you actually tell it out loud. And then you realize you get nothing but crickets. And then you try the joke again, and it still stinks. I'm on nights this week. Oh, okay. Right. See, I almost dropped it right there because I'm being lazy. And comedian joke. Good evening, Answer the Queen. Who needs to ask? Am I right? I will say this, that when I have been performing, my joke writing gets better. The more I'm on Twitter, actually, there's a relationship there. The more I'm on Twitter, the better jokes I write because it's just practice. That doesn't make me popular on Twitter, by the way. The things that make me popular or who get the most likes or retweets aren't jokes. They're memes and at least my jokes. They aren't the big likes and retweets. Does that count? I don't think that counts. Does it count? I need a ref. I just dropped a block, one block. Do I start all over again? So what happened? I tried putting a block up. One block fell, and I believe that means the whole thing is done. I think that means it's over, and I have to start over again. But no, that doesn't mean it. All right, so I'll take James Henry's finding. He was the first one in. I'm sorry, everyone. He was the first one in. So I'm going to put this back up here. And though I do feel that's a little, the Baptist in me, sinner, I lose a point. Very good. The sinner's in the hands of an angry God in me says that I'm going to hell for that. I'm going to go to Jenga hell for that. But I'll persevere. As long as the tower remains upright, you're fine. Well, I'm going to take your ruling on that. Like I said, first person who chimed in, so I'll take the ruling. Especially since it's beneficial to me. I'll definitely take the ruling. But even if it wasn't even if it didn't go in my favor, I would still take the ruling. Just like a food drop. There's this 8-second rule. Yeah, an 8-second rule. I thought it was like a 3-second rule. I get pretty anxious about dropping food. If it lands on an unsanitary surface, I just chuck it, to tell you the truth. Oh, fun. My floors are very clean. You get extra seconds, huh? I made some crepes last night. Crepes are very easy to make, and if you cook them up right, get the batter right, they're light and crispy and delicious. So I made some crepes last night. 3-second, 8-second last night. Who cares? I don't know, man. What's up, Philister? I think my immune system might have something to say about how long Yeah, my food, it's a thing for me, I guess. It's a thing for me that I can only handle food on sanitary surfaces. So for those of you who are just tuning in right now, if you missed me celebrating USA Today, talking about Laughing in Disbelief, the blog, naming me in my name about the Ted Cruz bit I wrote about him losing all of his Marriott Award points. It was a satirical post, comedy post, but they wrote about it, which was nice of them. Made a crepe load of them. That's right, a crepe load. One big Pinocchio fan. Very good. Yeah, fame, fleeting, non-monetary, non-monetary fame. I don't even know. I don't even know. I think I can still turn this around. See, now I gotta move the camera up high. Well, I'm feeling pretty good about this tower so far. It seems stable, and I can still turn I can still turn it around a bit, right? Fame comes first, and then the money follows. Well, that's if that's the economic model, James Henry. I am working. I'm crushing that system. That's what I am. I'm crushing it. And as you all know, obviously, I don't do this. I have a compulsion to irritate people I don't like. A compulsion to speak and write what I think. Oh, beautiful. Chumley Club Andy, indeed. I will say this: the nice thing about being in a relationship and not dating is not having to explain what I do to people, with to dates on the first and second date. So, what do you do, Andy? I do things. I work. Actually, there's a system to figure out whether or not, when I was dating, there was a system to figure out how well the other person would take the news of what I do. You throw out a couple of cultural references, try it out with a couple of jokes, see if they laugh, see if they understand things, see if they're a little artsy at all, and then if all things look good, then I would feel comfortable in telling them about what I do for work. But that was definitely not the first thing I said about what I did when I was And my dating profile too, when it was up, dating is overrated. Yeah, I played Jenga on YouTube for shut-ins. Construction and demolition. That's correct. That's correct. There are people. There might be like one or two people who, who are watching, don't know what I do in any other sphere, and they're like, yeah, I'm just like watching this guy do Jenga at 3:00 in the afternoon. I have no idea what else he does. No idea. He says he does comedy, but I don't really believe him. But when I was dating, my dating profile on OkCupid was I went off with my strengths. I started off with my strengths, which was I'm the primary caregiver of my children. That seemed to win me some points. And then I worked down until the point that they'd have to wait. They'd have to wait to get me on a date to learn that I was poor. Remember that episode of Jerry where Jerry said expected something special? Yeah. That doesn't happen, really. Well, that can happen. I have stories I can't tell you. I have stories that I can't tell you, to tell you the truth. If I ever start doing start performing live again, then maybe I can work on material. It isn't about my girlfriend now, but it's about past people I've been involved with, and they're a little raunchy. They're a little raunchy jokes. That's what it is. It's a little raunchy. A little things like you just kind of like jaw-dropping stuff. It's like it's funny, but somehow it's morally wrong. Like nothing crazy. They expect you to be funny in the bedroom. Well, they don't. The thing is about being funny or anything else, right, is that it's difficult to shut it off, right? It's difficult to shut the comedy off in any situation, whether you're at a funeral, whether you're in the doctor's office. The doctor's office, I think I do my best material because I'm so anxious. And I got this health fear. So yeah, comedy happens organically. Sometimes it happens orgasmically. But it just happens. It just happens. Well, what it is, John Oliver. I was watching a short of John Oliver talking with Jerry Seinfeld. Comedians in cars getting coffee. I don't know if you all have seen any of that series, which is a great series. Jerry Seinfeld basically gets together with comedians. They drive around in one of his vintage cars. They stop off, get a cup of coffee, and so they're having this conversation, John Oliver and Jerry Seinfeld, and Jerry Seinfeld and John Oliver were talking about how their wives deal with wife jokes. And I think it was Oliver who said, I've been married for 16 years, and it's just recently that my wife has been able to realize that I'm a sociopath, and I will stitch any number of words together as long as there's a joke at the end of them. And now she hasn't taken it seriously. Now Oliver's wife doesn't take, his wife jokes seriously. Yeah, Blazing. I've been there, brother. I've been there. I've been there. Believe me, I've been there. I will say this: what I think I'm good at is clearing the material. I'm good at clearing the jokes or the stories before I write about them, either on the blog or coming on YouTube, or just talking about it in general. So if there's a delicate or potentially delicate matter, I always get consent before I start talking about it out in public. Unless I make a mistake and I don't do it. Once a relationship ended with a letter arrived nearing my military rank in 20 years. Oh, wow. I suddenly became a militaristic pig. How about that? How about that? Relationship ends, man. Relationship endings. I'm going to tell you a real story. You want to hear an embarrassing story about Andy? So Jack Paterko and I were Skyping. We were doing the old show, Naked Diner podcast, and we were Skyping, doing an interview. And this is only 4 years ago, too. This is about 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago. And you got everyone here knows I'm an idiot, right? You all know that I am a technical idiot. And so basically, the girlfriend that I was with at the time, I thought I'd closed off Skype, and I didn't. And so Jack basically got to hear the entire breakup on Skype. He's a good guy and everything, but yes, he did tell me about it afterwards. Like, Andy, when you close Skype, you gotta make sure you close Skype, because otherwise you got a live mic going on. You're talking, I heard everything from the breakup, and it's like, really? It's like, all right. But Jack is someone that he might be a hide the body friend for me. He might be. He's the person I can trust. I never told you guys about the breakup with the girl that I was in a cult with, that she was in a cult. That's a story too. That's one of the fabled stories, is that I was dating this girl in Earhart seminar training. I've talked about it before on the show and here. I'm going to go on the road with Andy, a whirlwind bugs and comedy tour. Indeed. I was really explicit with the last woman I invited over about consent and wanted her to feel comfortable. She took her clothes off and said, hold this. Enthusiastic consent achieved. Indeed. That's a good leveling up there. But so I don't think I said this story before. So this is before I was married, of course. I must have been in my early 20s. And I was going out with this girl who was in Earhart's seminar training, which is EST. You might remember this from EST. Then rebranded as the Forum. And actually, I got a couple of funny stories about the Forum and my interactions with the Forum. But this is the breakup story. I'll tell you the breakup story as I'm doing this. So we've been dating for about 3 years, this girl, Lisa, and I. And, she was in her early 30s. I was in my early-ish 20s. And we were in two different places in our lifespan, right? This is unbeknownst to me, because I was young and I was stupid. And, I was working, I was going to school, undergraduate, I was doing all kinds of stuff. And of course, she was in a cult. She was in Earhart seminar training. And give you some backstory to this story. She was, and the thing is with the Forum, Earhart seminar training, is that they get people to buy and to take these classes, these worthless classes, right? It's a way to get money into the system. So she was taking this seminar in sex and relationships. Hey, didn't drop it. So she was taking this class in sex and relationships, and you would have thought that this would have been a signal for me that I was in trouble. But no, I was too busy. I was working, I was going to school, I was doing all this stuff, hustling. And so one night, I went out drinking with some people from work, because I was working as a short order cook. And we just went drinking. A funny thing, went to the Forum, right? So I went out drinking with a couple of people from work, and I was just trashed, just really, really trashed. I got home, took the train, got, the house we were living in, the rental. It was within walking distance of the train. I made it back home to her place. We were living together at the time. And I just collapsed in bed. Knowing farewell that we were going to be hanging out with a buddy of mine, Jim Sweeney, brilliant guy, and we were going to go Native American artifact hunting. where we lived, there was a fair amount of Native American artifacts you could find. In this southeastern part of Massachusetts, we had, I believe, the Wampanoag tribe was around here before they got displaced by the settlers. Thank you, King Philip's War. And so we were gonna go Native American artifact hunting early in the morning. We were gonna have to get up at 8 and do this, which, I was young. It's like I could go out drinking all night and then get up wicked early. Well, she woke my drunk ass up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And you know what she said? Yeah, I was wet behind the ears, and I was just stupid. So she woke my still drunk ass up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I look at the clock, it's like, I got another hour to sleep. And she goes, no, we have to talk. And I'm like, we don't have to talk. Roll over, go back to sleep. And no, she was insistent. She was insistent that we needed to talk. We needed to talk right then and there. And I'm like, okay, so what's going on? She goes, you gotta leave. This is breakup. You gotta leave, and you gotta leave right now. And I gotta leave right now. You gotta leave right now. And so, while still drunk, I got to take. I got a couple of 2-ply hefty bags. There was a quality hefty bags, like the colloquially known here in the Boston area as the Irish luggage. Got the 2-ply hefty bags and deposited all of my clothes into said bags. And then made my way back to my parents' house, of all places. All the way back to my parents' house. And that was, I believe, the worst breakup I've had. Where basically she got me out of bed still drunk and just broke up with me right then and there. Just had to leave the house, had to leave the apartment with nothing but hefty bags. With my clothes in there. A common cult tactic. Yeah, you're right about that, Tons of Mice. You're right about that. Yeah, so I got a couple of stories about EST and seminar training, the forum. That's just one of them. And even that I didn't do justice because I'm trying to concentrate on the game. But that's probably my worst breakup right there, was being told that I had to move out while still drunk on a Sunday morning. That was rough. You notice my cat-like reflexes right there? I felt like it was going to fall. It still may fall because this block is 3/4 of the way out, and I don't know if I should still take it out or if I should put it back in. But I don't think I can even put it back in, so I'm going to try delicately take. Well, I was successful to a point that I wasn't. It all worked well until the point it just started sucking out loud. Yeah, a lot of comedy is based on brutal stories, right? A lot of comedy is just based on funny and brutal and funny. One of my funniest stories I've told on stage before many times is how I got held up, at gunpoint. I know I said this. I know I've told that story before on the channel. Funny, dramatic stories while playing Jenga. All gone. So if you're going to use the verb Jenga, if you're going to say it got Jenga'd, would that imply that something was being built up in a way that, how would you define the gerund? Is that how you pronounce it? Gerund? The Jenga, like Jenga in. Is that like building something that's doomed to fall at some point? I don't know. Oh, you're in a relationship, but you still live alone? Well, that's I can see that. I can see the virtues of that, James Henry. Definitely. I can see the virtues in that model. To tell you the truth, what happened with me and my girlfriend said I was staying so much at her place and we've been going out for 2 years. It's like, well, I just decided I was going to sell my condo and move in with her. And, well, we both decided it was the smart thing to do because literally I was just spending all my time up here. And it's like, why would I be spending money on, property taxes, condo fees, and stuff like that if I'm not actually there? All right, Jenga Tower 1 completed. Wow, that was a long Jenga Tower too. She has a key. Oh, that's good. You have to figure out I think that's one of the things about getting older, right? You get to figure out exactly what system works well for you. And the thing is, you change over time too, right? So the system that worked for you when you were in your 20s may not be the same system that works for you in your 40s or your 50s or whatever. Yeah, 7 boundaries. Good fences make good neighbors. Now I can build this thing down. There you go. Good fences make good neighbors. That's Robert Frost right there. I was married to a woman. She got mad and moved back in with her mother. Wow. So I moved 700 miles away and told people she was dead. That would work, to tell you the truth. I had a girlfriend telling me we need to get married or break up. Yeah, that's tough. I told her she was right, moving in a different direction, and we should break up. We couldn't stand being apart. We should get back together. Yep. Yeah. I think one of the biggest shocks, and Amy and my kid were actually talking about it. My kid's up here for this week. Amy and my kid were talking about the wonders Amy was telling her about the wonders of dating me, is that she gets to hear the joke from soup to nuts, from the first generation of the joke, and then she gets to read the joke on the blog, and then she gets to hear me try it out on the YouTube channel, and eventually she'll hear me say it in front of people too. Apparently her grandma had told her to ultimatum me. Yeah, dude, that's tough. I don't do well with ultimatums, to tell you the truth. I'm not a big yeah, ultimatums are typically given as a sign of weakness in a lot of ways. Yeah, James Henry. Yeah, when you think about it, right? What is the Hippocratic Oath? It's do no harm. Part of that is do no harm. I think in relationships, it's unrealistic to think that you're not going to do any harm. I think the oath should be do the least amount of harm as humanly possible. I think that might be dark, everyone. That might be a little dark. Tons of mice. I once told my husband I wanted a divorce, and he moved away, so I couldn't get him to sign the papers. Yeah, that's hard. That is hard. People like being in denial. I was flipping around the stations on the cable box there, checking out the TV stations, different stations, and I caught a movie that was not directed or written by Woody Allen, but he still acted in it back in 1976, and it was about blacklisted writers. Blacklisted writers. I thought it was pretty interesting. Simply Secular. I have a buddy who's still married on paper to a woman separated from 20 years ago. Wow. Well, there you go. I like the spinny table. I gotta tell you, I like the spinny table, or for tax purposes. And oh. Da, 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 da. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it'll work. It worked. It was interesting. We were talking about that story earlier today on the show about the Pentecostal woman who didn't want to give her husband a divorce and went all the way. Once he got the divorce certified, she sued the state of New York, saying that it was against her religious freedom to get divorced, which is crazy. I'm not sure he does taxes. And that was a big L libertarian. It was fascinating talking with other libertarians about their schemes to evade taxes and, just crazy stuff. If you put yourself in a common trust, and then, that you don't own anything in your life, and it's the trust, and they can't tax you that way. It's like, really? Is that true? I don't think it's true. I will tell you this, and I think I've mentioned this before. The only person that I've ever known to actually commit voter fraud is a big L libertarian. He's now dead, mind you. He was on the voting list for several towns. And only person I've ever known personally to commit voter fraud. You won't find this hard to imagine. I don't want to say anything bad about mechanics, but he did run an auto shop. So I don't know if there's a relationship there. But you listen to Republicans complain about voting fraud all the time. And I'm not saying that this one person is typical of people who do commit voter fraud, but I think it's funny. I think it's funny that the one person I know who freely admitted to committing voter fraud was a big L libertarian. All right, I'm going to take this block. I feel guilty. I feel like it's too easy. But I'll do it. See, I don't want to take that one either. Everyone brings joy. Some when they arrive, some when they leave. Well, I don't want to. I just want to let you guys know, everyone know, that it's my divorce day is coming up, which is April Fool's Day. That is the day that I walked out of court with the judge certifying the divorce. So yeah, April Fool's Day is my official divorce day. There's something beautiful about that. I don't know how I'm going to do to really, celebrate it. I'll probably celebrate it. I don't even know what day it's on. I sneak into Canada and vote for Neil the 604 atheist every chance I get. He's a good guy. So I learned a new word today. It's a Japanese word. It's called ikagi. I believe I'm pronouncing it right. Ikagi. What ikagi means, I believe it's an Okinawan word. It means reason for being. It's about why you get up in the morning, basically. I thought it's pretty cool that they have a certain word for that, because people always talk about, what's the meaning in life, or what is life's meaning. You see a lot of theists, especially atheists who are just coming out of theism, grapple with this question about what's the meaning of life. And I think ikagi, it turns the question around to, it isn't what the meaning of life is, but what do you find meaning in? What is the meaning of your life? Akagi was one of the Japanese, simply secular, on fire. Yep, there was a Soyu, right? Soyu, the Akagi. I used to know there was four aircraft carriers: the Soyu, Akagi. Oh, man, they might pop back in. And the U.S. had three, I believe. The Enterprise, the Yorktown, and maybe the Lexington. I think those three, maybe. Who are you? All right. There's a Soyu too, I think, and then the Akagi. Of course, the problem with those aircraft carriers is that, or one of the issues is that they had poor fire control systems, right? When the U.S. carriers in the Battle of Midway knew that they were coming, or they, as in the Japanese bombers and fighter aircraft, when they were coming, they were able to flood their fuel lines with CO2. So when you flood your fuel lines with CO2, bombs hit your aircraft carrier, you don't blow up like a big tinderbox, so it's more difficult to blow up. The Japanese, however, didn't have those kind of fire control systems, from what I understand. And so when they got hit, they were much more likely to go up in a big ball of flame. Yeah. And when you talk about dumb luck, everyone, when you look at how things can just turn on a dime, you look at the Battle of Midway, and it's just there was luck involved. It was just a bunch of these dive bombers coming in at just the right time, and Kaga. Thank you. So what happened? The takeaway is that the U.S. had been basically peppering these aircraft carriers with attacks, unsuccessful attacks, for quite a while. The aircraft were being refueled and refitted with weapons, and these dive bombers, dauntless dive bombers, just came out of the sky and just landed some catastrophic hits on these decks, which were full of weapons and full of airplanes, and it was the absolute worst time to get hit. And that's one of the things that destroyed, or really didn't destroy the Imperial Navy, but really hobbled it. The carriers of the day had wooden decks, indeed. Well, the thing is about the Japanese the Japanese carriers too is that they were refitted. Some of them were refitted because there was a naval treaty, and the Japanese could only build a certain number of carriers with a certain amount of tonnage, and so the carriers had to take like cruisers. They had to take like the hulks of cruisers and put flight decks on them. So they were smaller carriers, but carriers nonetheless. And that was the way that they were able to get around these naval treaties. Start talking about Midway. Start talking about it for hours, Andy. That's your problem right there. Dauntless dive bombers, yeah. Apparently the torpedoes that Americans used to use the technical term, sucked. They go, wow, this is really bright. We got more sunlight coming in, don't we? All right, so that's the problem. More sunlight. That's like super bright. The sun's coming out. All right. The sun's coming out, and I don't like it when the sun comes out with these with this lighting here. All right, maybe that's a little better. It's all hot. That's what they call it, right? When there's too much sunlight, it's hot. Da, 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 da. See if that helps. It probably won't, but maybe a little bit. There was this show, a PBS show called BillPhil. BillPhil looked at a variety of different wars. Vietnam War was, they did a great series, BillPhil, on the Vietnam War. They did a great one on World War II also. And really, and you can find episodes on YouTube from the series BillPhil, which I recommend in case you like learning about that kind of stuff. Or you might be able to find it not just on YouTube, but on other stations, on cable, on streaming services. But a lot of what I know about Vietnam as well as World War II comes from watching the BillPhil series. Yeah, you watch that? Good stuff. Good stuff. Oh. Well, maybe I overperformed on the first. Maybe I did really well on the first tower, and I underperformed on the second tower. I don't know, everyone. I don't know. Have you heard that the latest aircraft carrier still hasn't worked out the bugs with the mag launchers? Yeah, and they're considering simply refitting it to steam. I haven't heard about that. Battle 360 is really nice too. I've seen that. Yeah, I know. It was a really good tower, right? It was a really good tower, and then it just kabooshed. That's what happened. Kabooshed. Sounds like a Yiddish word, right? Kabooshed. It just kabooshed. So that was it, right? Hey, thanks for showing up, everyone. Always good to chat. Doing the new show tomorrow, and I keep talking about dropping another comedy video, which I should be doing. See, I'm going to shit myself. I should be doing that. Thanks for your support, and once again, viva la laughing in disbelief. Maybe I'll get something else on you. Once again, I'm very happy. I'm not very happy that often, but this is me very happy about getting my bit in USA Today. So that was a little ray of sunshine in my heart. Two sizes too small. So, well, there you go. So yeah, everyone, tomorrow, right? 9 a.m. Eastern. I'll see you tomorrow. If you want to check out the blog, Laughing in Disbelief, go ahead. But if not, feel free to follow me on Twitter, blah, blah, blah. I'm horrible at this. It always feels inauthentic promoting my own crap. So, hey, take care. Be good. Yeah, be well. Yeah. Be strong. Take care, everyone. Da, 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 da.